Yeah, it's like, yeah. Don't be text. Box! Punch. I'll fix this thing too. People now, smile on your brother. Everybody come together and watch our award ceremony now.
Right now.
Right now. Yes, welcome to the first ever annual
Aged Gamer Game Awards.
Game Awards. Woo! We heard that through the grapevine that the awards were somewhat lackluster and not representative of the people. So who more representative than a couple of old aged dudes telling you what to play? So, yeah, so we're going to go through some categories. You know, if you want to watch him count categories.
9 categories!
9 categories we're going to go through. And so, yeah, stick around. Enjoy the show. Drop us a like. Subscribe. Click the notification bell. Comment. Something useful. Something not useful. And on that note, bam!
Welcome back to the only geriatric podcast, videocast thing, The Aged Gamer.
So, welcome back to this gala, this gorgeous gala. I'm your host, Widied. This is your other host,
Pfarcus.
And we're going to drop some real award bombs on you here, tell you what was really worthy. None of this, you know, corporate shilling. Jeez, we know, man. Actually, Game Awards was...
Game Awards, we know you sold out to the man.
Yeah, man. We're not that. We don't get paid.
We're the schmucks, not the man.
We're literally just sitting here playing games and not getting paid. So, you know, what we say goes. What we say matters.
We're not sellouts. We don't have enough money to be called sellouts.
We're the opposite of that. Well. So, yeah. So, we're going to go categorically through a list of types of games. Blah, 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 tell you which is the best for each of us. So, there'll be 2 picks. And you can judge us appropriately afterwards.
But these are the games we judged as the best.
Best. Boom.
Starting with best sound.
Best what?
Sound.
What? All right.
When the Doom song drops. BAM! So for my pick, there's a little indie game called Double Kick Heroes where you fight zombies with drums. It's awesome. It feels really weird to... the drums are attached to laser beams, not punches. Exactly, that's better. It feels weird using the controller as a drum kit, but after a while, you just the music's awesome. There's cameos by Ruined Sound because of the table drum kit. Yeah, so check it out. Double Kick Heroes. If you're into drum music at all, zombies, retro games, any of the above, lasers.
Apocalypse now.
Apocalypse now.
Yeah.
It's a theme song.
Yeah. Alright, so the better game for sound, my game, was Doom Eternal. What? Oh my god! Nobody's ever said that before. Almost everybody has said that before, I know, but it's because it's deserved. Doom Eternal sound was fantastic. Just like the first one, but better.
Yeah.
But, I don't know, the first one's hard to beat, though. But this is a good follow-up.
I think it was better. Like, yeah. I think Mick Gordon stepped up a notch.
He did. He was fantastic. I know a lot of friends who just bought the soundtrack because it was fantastic, right? People that just play it, listen to it almost, because not that the game isn't fantastic, it's alright it is, but yeah, so that's my pick. I know that there was some drama in the game's development cycle, but I'm pretty sure Mick still had a hand in most of it.
He did the entire soundtrack for the main game.
Yeah, it was the DLC that he got.
The DLC they had to hire somebody else, yeah.
So I'm kind of sad and a little bit worried about future prospects, but this one's fantastic.
Having played the DLC myself, I will say that the stand-in, it's not Mick Gordon, but he did an admirable job.
Based on what he could do.
Yes.
Yes. So, boom. All right. The
Best
next best sound. The next best sound. Now, the next topic is the best narrative. As it says, folks, the narrative. What's your next best narrative?
I can't repeat that. My next pick for best narrative is a little bit of a hot take. I know the internet might flame war me for this a little bit, but I gotta say, having obsessed about it for the past few days, it's gotta be Cyberpunk 2077.
I'm the spirit of the internet!
For all the bugs and whatnot, which I don't really have because I'm playing it on
Exclusively.
on the Series X, the superior machine. Hot take. Yeah, once the game runs, the narrative is actually quite brilliant. Anybody who's read any of the Neuromancer novels, anybody who's into sci-fi and the hacker culture, Night City actually feels a lot, and I don't know how many people will get this reference, but Night City really feels like the Sprawl, the main location in the the main location in the Neuromancer novels is called the Sprawl, and the books go through.
Was that the guy who wrote Neuromancer Canadian?
Gibson? I'm not sure. I will post it here whether Wide-Eyed is right or not. But that being said, Cyberpunk really feels like playing through his novels. Anybody who's watched Johnny Mnemonic or the Matrix series kind of touches a little bit on this culture, like the hacker culture kind of thing. Mr. Robot, the TV series, kind of touches on it a little bit too. Yeah, it plays like the best of all of that hacker culture future where you can upload your brain to the internet kind of world, and it's just really enthralling. I just really
no wonder you
can't
like
get
it.
enough of it.
That's kind of what you want to do.
I do.
It's like your future desire.
I want to put my brain in the internet.
Sure. So social media can ping you every second.
Oh,
So you'll get some inane comment about.
I didn't think this through.
True story. All right. So my pick for best narrative is Ghost of Tsushima, also known as Ghost of Sushi, also known as Sushi Goats. Yeah, this is a relatively late game that I played in the year. Definitely not in time with its release, but it definitely quickly became my favorite release for narrative stories, because the one thing that's really cool that I found playing it, and usually it's how I judge when a narrative hits me in general, is narrative. Is usually I like it when I don't really, like, the world is so well formed that every little thing that you do sort of relates to the story, no matter how big or how small. I hate it when like side quests sort of pop you and they're like, hey, even though you're trying to save the world from a post-apocalyptic doom, can you go fetch me a cat from a tree or some weird thing? Doesn't apply. This doesn't do that. There's no bubble pop. Every little quest seems to matter. Everything builds his story, like the story of the main character, and it was compelling all the way through, right from the get-go, and I never stopped playing it the entire time. As like Cyberpunk came out, and I was like, I'm not touching that game until I beat this one. So it is definitely my narrative pick for sure. The story is awesome. It's also a little bit based on the history. I know it's a fictional historical take, but there was really a fight with Tsushima versus the Mongols. And so it actually really inspired me to look up a lot of actual history on that, just because I love those sort of military histories, especially when they're like just something about an honorable warrior class that gets me, like Spartans, the same thing. Whenever I got obsessed with those, and now I'm obsessed with this whole movement. It just takes me over.
So is it actually samurai, or is that another era?
Yeah, it's samurai. That's their era. Yeah, it's just really cool. Like, even when you dig in to see if the game got it close or not. And like, there's actually kind of funny when you watch some documentaries and stuff that just recently came out online. A lot of them are cashing on this game. They're like, the real Ghost of Tsushima. Like all these kind of things. Even though I don't think there was like an actual character that even remotely, this is just a complete fictionalization of history for Japan, right? So, but still, fascinating, awesome. And the fact that it got me to dig in that far was like, definitely an award winner. A little sad the actual Game Awards didn't pay enough attention to that game, in my opinion.
Yeah. Well, there's a couple games on our list that are like that, where we feel like the Game Awards did not give them even remotely enough love.
Yeah. And, screw the man. All right. You need to say this one.
So the next category is the best category of all, boys and girls.
That's just really good. That was actually a good impression, man.
Best horror. So for me, there's a little... I don't know if it classifies as an indie game, but there's a game by a small developer anyways, called Moons of Madness. Basically takes Lovecraft, adds a little bit of sci-fi, which makes sense in Lovecraftian terms, and plops it on the moon. Which, you basically... And it's not like an advanced moon culture where everything's terraformed. This is like everybody's in spacesuits. If they exit the buildings, they die of COVID. So it's a very claustrophobic, alien, like early aliens kind of vibe to it, but with more kind of mythical, Necronomicon style monsters. I really highly recommend it. Very underrated game. Moons of Madness.
Nice. My pick would have to be... This one I'm making up on the spot.
Yeah, I was going to say there's
Johnny on
blank
the spot.
on the...
I literally have to. Johnny on the spot. All right. Horror games. What did I play? I know. I think this year might be the only year I didn't play a horror game. That seems really weird. Talk to me.
I think RE7 came out in 2019. I think.
It did, yeah.
RE3. Did RE2?
RE2 remake was last year.
It was last year? Okay. I know
RE3 did, but I never got to play that.
It was actually really good.
Honorable mention, RE3. I probably would have liked that game. I took a stance on it, though, when it first dropped, that I didn't think a 6-hour game should cost $90. So.
I think it's like $39 now or so.
So, actually, I should probably pick it up and play it now. It seems to be more reasonably priced, but... I heard it was a fantastic game, and I'm pretty sure I would love it since I loved RE2 Remake a lot. It was actually arguably one of my favorite games, if not the favorite game of that year. But don't listen to me, because I don't play enough horror games, apparently. Listen to this guy. Sorry, dropped the ball.
Doesn't get enough vitamin horror. It's a shame.
I'll make it up for this one. So this one, folks, is the best indie game. What? And I did play a fantastic indie game actually on the Switch. I got it probably a few weeks back, maybe a month, called Hades. Hades is a roguelike, kind of done in a way that I haven't really even seen before. I mean, yeah, it's got kind of the traditional formula stuff, but it's really got a unique the way the narrative flows in it is really different. Like every time it acknowledges that you're supposed to die, and every time you die, you get more of the story because it's actually part of the narrative to die and like come back. And so it's really fascinating, and I'm a sucker also for the artistic style. It's kind of cartoony, but like I'd say it's pretty tastefully done in a sense. Like it's not like so cartoony, it's not quite anime, but it's like, I don't know how to describe it. It's just really well done. It's kind of stylistic. But the story is fun, the gameplay is fantastic, it's very smooth, it's sort of like this top-down 3D,
just kind of
2D,
like
3D.
Diablo kind of
Kind of in a way, and like each room kind of has a set, like a set plane, like you're looking down on it, and that angle is like the room. And you go in, and a certain amount of bad guys spawn, obviously, and your idea is you're trying to climb, you're the son of Hades, trying to... Oh my god. Hell is trying to come out.
The sneeze went away, damn it.
How about his talking? You're the son of Hades trying to break out of hell, basically, and you get help from the other gods because they want you to come in and hang out. So every time you die, it's like you go back and you have to like talk to the different characters, and Hades makes fun of you, and your dog's Cerberus. It's actually really cool. It's a really good. Every time you come down, everybody, like no matter where you die, everything sort of like adjusts to what happened. So like you meet more people and you talk to them, you get more story out of them, and this is really cool. Like I have not had a problem sitting down with that game for hours and just wasting time to it because it's challenging too. So that's also a good thing. But yeah, Hades, check it out. It is fantastic.
Fantastic. So my pick is another horror game that came out recently. I am going to butcher the name, but it's called Phantasmaphobia. I actually think I got it. It's called Phantasmaphobia. And it's a little indie game where you basically play a...
Is that when you're afraid of phantasms?
Well, technically yes, but...
Okay.
I don't know how to follow that. He ruined it. It's this little indie game where you basically play a paranormal investigator, the different PI, and you basically get all these instruments like the EMF reader, and you basically get a case, and you go in, and it's multiplayer, so you can actually have like your friends come with you and stuff, and they can have different like devices or whatever. Like one of them can bring a Bible to say an exorcism, and another can bring like holy water or whatever. Mm-hmm. And you got to go in and you got to figure out what ghost you're dealing with, and you got to investigate all the clues. It's actually really fun. It's kind of hilariously clunky. It is an early access game, so
take it as you will.
Yeah, but it shows a lot of promise, and it's actually really fun to play with others. Usually I'm a solo type of guy. I don't play a lot of multiplayer games. Played a little bit of PUBG back in the day. My PUBG playmates know who they are.
Playmates? Hey, that sound... Playmates.
Yeah, the mates that played the game with me.
Weird way to say...
My fellow shooters.
Playmates?
My shooter looters.
Am I just a playmate to you? Alright, go ahead.
Anyways, so yeah, I don't usually play multiplayer games, but I did enjoy this multiplayer experience of playing as a paranormal investigator, and I will end up returning back to PUBG once I figure out how to play it with those who know who I'm talking about. Just figured I'd mention that. But yeah, Phantasmaphobia, if you haven't heard of it, check it out. It's PC exclusive at the moment. So sorry, it is a PC Master Race kind of game. For those who can play it. And
Xbox had it too.
Did they?
Yeah.
I want to verify.
Wait, are we talking about PUBG or?
Oh, PUBG. Yeah, no, I'm talking about Phantasmaphobia.
Oh, you lost me there. Okay, Phantasmaphobia.
PUBG was a little, ADHD moment.
Okay.
Squirrel.
PUBG is your favorite game of the year. Good job.
No, it was Phantasmagoria. Phantasmagoria.
All right. All right.
I can't even see the lights.
Best VR is next one.
Best VR. So we actually agree completely 100% on this one.
We're going to say everything in perfect unison.
1,
2,
Squadrons! That was
yeah, okay. So what did we think about this game?
Squadrons. Because I don't think anybody could translate it with it.
No, yeah, that's fair. Yeah. So go ahead with your thoughts.
So there was a little Star Wars VR game by the name of Squadrons.
It's not even VR. It's just a game.
But you can play it in VR.
But you can play it in VR.
It's pretty much a VR.
I'm not playing it. Oddly enough, I'm playing it mostly out of VR. I just played it the once at your house at VR, but it was already the best VR.
Will say this, if you're kind of a motion sickness person, this might not be the best VR experience because you are like flipping upside down. And it almost made wide-eyed puke.
Nonsense. It's worth it. Tell me you wouldn't puke to be inside of a TIE fighter.
You'd be like, that was awesome.
Yeah. Yeah, it was pretty cool. And, it's a good game. I mean, it's primarily meant for multiplayer, I think. It's got a nice little single-player portion, which I've been playing through. Non-VR. Like I said, the reason why it's VR mention is because I think that's honestly where it's it shines the best. I mean, it's a great game on all its own, but like as just a flight sim. But I mean, VR is like it's next level. So
if you ever watch Star Wars and watch the TIE fighters and all the other planes that I don't know the names of going pew 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 pew, and we're like, I want to be in the cockpit, this is the game for that.
There was an old N64 game, I think, called Rogue Squadron or something like that. Anyways, it was like I loved that game. This is the only game in a long, long time that ever made me ponder getting a throttle and flight stick. Like, I have never thought about this for generations of consoles, and I like literally was pricing them after I got the game. I'm like, this game's fun, and I want to fly in X-Wing.
I want to fly, and I don't know what sound I'm making fun of. Anyways, so yes, that is our best VR game. Squadrons, the best VR game.
Yes, so the next one on the menu, folks, is the best action adventure game. This is actually a category that is probably my favorite category of games. And my winner, drumroll please. Longer.
I can't go longer!
It's Ghost of Tsushima Ghost. Don't talk about it because I already did, but I will say that the mechanics are really nice. You know, the parrying mechanics, the fighting, it really felt kind of like this perfect little mishmash of the Breath of the Wild had sex with Bushido Blade, which had sex with Destiny, and out came this perfect game.
That sounds like a very dangerous...
They just all had sex and a baby came out.
Blades are flying, guns are shooting.
Yeah, stories are going and things happen and boom, Ghost of Tsushima's out. And yeah, so it's fantastic. Yeah, what should say there?
So my pick is a little bit of a throwback to one of the earlier entries on the list, and that is a game I feel like did not get enough love in the Gamer Awards, and I think that it was an absolute crime against humanity. My pick for best action game, it's a little bit of a cheat, because I don't know if many people would call it an action game, but there's a lot of action in the game, and that game is Doom Eternal.
Yeah, because we didn't really put like shooter down, so I think action adventure kind of like encompasses all these different types of anything that is not slow.
Yeah, and I feel like the way that Doom Eternal the way Doom Eternal plays requires so much out of you, so much strategy, so much, you know, you got to plan your attack, and you got to actually make sure that you prioritize enemies and stuff like that. That I feel like it's fair to call it an action game in that regards. It's kind of hard to deny that the game is very action.
Oh, wait a second. Could you call Doom Eternal a horror game?
Technically.
Rewind. My favorite horror game was Doom Eternal. Alright, go back.
And we're back.
And we're back.
Yeah, so Doom Eternal, definitely a lot of action, definitely a lot of fun, definitely requires a lot out of the player, which is possibly why it did not get the Gamer Awards on the Game Awards.
True story.
Because I feel like maybe they...
there was a lot of times like, I don't care, like, Last of Us 2 couldn't have been that good.
Neither of us have played it just as a kind of a disclaimer.
Yeah, see our other video as to why. But in fairness, it couldn't have been that good to like beat all of these deeply fantastic games of every category.
There's no way it was more of a roller coaster than Doom Eternal. Maybe as equal of a roller coaster as Doom Eternal. No. But there's no way it was more of one.
If there was action to be had in any game,
Doom Eternal
is like 110% of action. Like, you can't... That game, there's nothing that compares to that.
Like, if you took a squirrel that's addicted to caffeine and injected speed right into its face and then gave it a gun, that would be Doom Eternal.
And so, like, I think in these categories, too, like, it comes down to, you know, how fast-paced the action is. Yeah. You know, how fresh and new the mechanics are. And yeah, I can see that. It's a good pick. I think it's very much playing on everything that was there, but it was definitely better than the original. Like, they added things. Oh, yeah. They made the action even crazier.
Yeah, very much so.
So, good pick. Good pick. You copied my horror pick, though. Jeez.
So, I think we've beaten that dead horse. What's the next category?
Next category is the best Repig.
Repig. So for those who don't know what a Repig is, it's a role-playing game, also known as Repig. We will forever call it Repigs. So for me, I gotta do it. I gotta do it. Cyberpunk 2077.
Gonna make me channel the spirit of the people again. Whoosh!
Yeah, Cyberpunk 2077. I had to include it as best RPG because I've never felt so in the world, which is kind of the point of an RPG. I'm not gonna hit you.
I'm the spirit of the people. You're the enemy. You're the public enemy.
Number one.
But it's wearing the Xbox shirt, which means he can play Cyberpunk.
Yes, true story. You have to wear this shirt, otherwise the game bugs. But yeah, like, I've never played a game that made me so enraptured with the world. Like, I'm playing side missions just because I don't want the main story to end, kind of thing. And I never really do that. Usually
he doesn't. He really does.
I usually just gun straight for the end credits. So for me to actually just kind of spend as much time in the side missions as I am with Cyberpunk, saying a lot. I really love the worlds that CD Projekt Red created. I really loved the fantasy that they've set for us to role play in, and it's just a wonderful.
Can't wait till I can finally play the game on my PS5.
Brett. That's the error sound. But yeah. So yeah, that's my pick.
My pick for best Repig is Mortal Kombat. No, it's Final Fantasy VII Remake. What? Yeah. So there's a little shocker. Actually, it'd be a crime not to mention this game since it is beautiful. I was a big fan of the original, and the funny thing is when I played the original, I wasn't young per se, but like it's long enough distance now that like my memory's foggy about the whole experience. Like, and I loved the game as a kid, but you know when you're a kid, you're playing something, a lot of it comes in one ear and not the other. So I remember like the highlights, so it's nice to revisit it. I do that with a lot of games, like especially with this. I'm not like huge on the nostalgia craze, but with the classic games that I loved growing up as a kid, I will you could put a game out every year. Basically, just get out, buy it, and play it. This is how I am. And this game, it definitely hit the itch. I'm excited to see the whole thing unfold. Although I'm very glad. I think gaming changed by virtue of how this game was kind of delivered, in the sense that back in the day when you got Final Fantasy VII, you got this hundreds of hour epic, and now they're giving it to you in nice little 40-hour packages, which to me as an adult that really appealed to, because that's about where I like games. I mean, I have played games obviously a lot longer, any Dark Souls game, you know other tons of games I've played for many more hours, but generically speaking, I think 40 hours is where I like to end.
That's usually what I end up, even if I play the crap out of it, it's usually about 40 hours.
Yeah.
That's like the Soulsborne games.
So, yeah, fantastic job. Art direction's really great. The music was fantastic. Also, was actually potentially a pick there, but I mean, hard to beat Doom Eternal. But yeah, I gotta give it the best RPG. I definitely had a lot of fun with it, and can't wait for the next installment.
Oh, crap. Best Fictor. Rock'em Sock'em Robots. The video game. They should make a video game of that. I would play the crap out of that. No, we're not doing that again, because that was creepy. For those who weren't there, we did a rock, paper, scissors game where we had the same thing for like 17 times in a row.
Probably 5.
Probably like 8,000 of these.
Sensationalize it.
Yeah. So my pick for best Fictor, or fighter, as some people call it, is Mortal Kombat Ultimate. I had to cheat a little bit because I'm not much of a fighter guy. I know some of our friends are probably crying at that statement, shaking their fists in the sky.
Minus 9 subscribers.
But yeah, I play fighters, but I don't play them a lot. And I don't really like get too involved in the fighter scene. But Mortal Kombat's always been an exception for me. I think part of it is that it just feels like playing in a horror movie. And on that note, NetherRealms, please let the rumors be true that you're in development of an all-horror fighting game.
1993 called. They want their rumor back because I haven't heard anything about that in a long time. They're really holding on to that, man.
I will hold on to that until it releases.
I'm pretty sure they came out and said that'll never happen.
No, it will happen. It will happen. But until it happens, the best I have is Mortal Kombat Ultimate. Mortal Kombat, is it 11? I think it's 11. Mortal Kombat 11 Ultimate has some... The Mortal Kombat series always has, like, horror DLC, like, there's an Alien Baraka mix where, like, it's Alien, but it has, like, the Baraka blades. And, yeah, so it's, yeah. Yeah.
All right. My best fig hitter is one that actually did come out this year. Not a cheat DLC, man. No, it's fair. Mine is Grand Blue Fantasy. It's actually a fighter. Came out for Arxis, one of my favorite fighting game developers. They develop a lot of anime fighters, which I tend to be a fan of. This one is kind of just your simplistic. It's a very simplistic fighter. I mean, as much as a fighter can be, and you know, there's nothing too crazy hard to grasp onto in order to play and have fun. And it's especially if you're any kind of a fighter enthusiast, you'll pick up pretty easy. And actually, one of the things I like about it is just how simple it is. Because you know, some fighters can demand that you get a PhD in that game, and this one's just like, you want to play some checkers? Okay, sign in and play this game with your friends, and it's not a giant time commitment to feel like you know, can be half decent at it. So, plus it's got gorgeous art. Anybody who knows Arxis, you know, Dragon Ball Fighters, Guilty Gear. These games are fantastic. So this is another good entry, especially for people just starting out in the fighting game realm. Trust me, I know the battles because I got my FGC here, my local FGC I like to take part in. They all hate this game, but screw them. Their opinions are worthless. I love you guys. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah. So we are down to our final category. So
before the last one,
do we have a best overall?
Yes.
Oh, okay. So I lied to you. I lied to you. There's actually 10 categories, but we didn't have the 10th on the board, which is not my fault. It's not my fault. So for the 9th category, we figured we'd do something a little on the theme of the aged gamers. So we are doing the best retro release of 2020.
Yeah.
I don't know why that was so dramatic. But,
yeah.
Yes. So for me, there's a little game on the Switch called Super Mario 35. What it is, it's basically multiplayer hell of Mario. Every time as you're playing, every time the people that are playing at the same time as you stomp on a Goomba, they send a Goomba to your world, which doesn't sound like a big deal, but if you play long enough, there will be Goombas everywhere. It's just Goomba chaos.
Yeah.
And it's awesome, and I love it.
Good little freebie there.
And it's free.
Yeah. The peeps. Yeah. My choice was not so free. It is the 3D All-Stars Mario game, and it's hard to believe that some of these games could be considered retro, but, you know, I'm old, so they are. Yeah, I really enjoyed this package. I'm going to be very poor next year if they do a Zelda one, because I will be all in on everything Zelda. So I'm a Mario fan, but I'm like kind of your backseat Mario fan, where I'm not like, you know, not going to go to Mario World in Japan, whatever. I would probably go if I was flown out for, you know, whatever. But it was a really good addition. I mean, Mario 64, I played the crap out of it. Probably beat that game 100% of it, like twice in my life before this one. So honestly, I didn't revisit this one as much, but it was more about Sunshine and Galaxies for me. It was really nice to have all of that in one package. Just to revisit it, even just to have it a little bit of a collector side if you just want to have it, because apparently it digitally and physically is going to just go off the markets like in March. Yeah, they're putting it in the vault. So, you know, you have one chance to own this bad boy. Yeah. And, yeah, it was worth the money, I think. Blah, 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 boo, boo. So on that note, we're at the final category. To all of our current winners, like, give me an applause. Oh, good job, good job, good job. You're fantastic. But not as good as this last one. This one's the best one. So this is the game of the year, folks. The game of the year, like no other game. We will be honest. There's nobody paying us. Trust me, we know. We wish there was. But yeah, no, yeah, game of the year. Game of the year. Boom.
So what's your game of the year?
My game of the year has already been on my list twice already. It's Ghost of Tsushima. Tsushima. Ghost of Sushi. It's a fantastic game. Every aspect of it: gameplay, graphics, sound, story, environment, mechanics, characters. But it's the perfect package to me. I like every now and again. It seems like once a year I get a game that just draws me in like this, and I just can't stop playing it until I beat it, and it even pulls me in past like the actual story, and I start doing all the things like kind of like you and in the SB Punk, or CB Punk if I actually learned how to spell. This one like pulled me in, and like I just wanted to do everything, devour every little aspect. In fact, I kind of just want to go back to it, even if I'm playing other games right now. Just to, I like it that much. So yeah, kudos to Sucker Punch. Whack. Make my favorite game of the year.
So my favorite game of the year, I was going to do a hot take, and you know what the hot take is, guys. But I figured there's actually one game that I've actually probably played a little bit more than Cyberpunk 2077, believe it or not. And that's a little tiny game that not many people have heard of called Doom Eternal. Doom Eternal.
Wow.
Yeah, I actually absolutely adore Doom Eternal, and I think it's an absolute crime that did not get on the Game Awards. I feel like...
Did they win anything?
I don't think they did.
So,
I don't think they did.
That's crazy.
And I think that is a crying shame, because that game was absolutely amazing. It was absolutely awesome on every possible level. You know, my only complaint was that there was so much of the game. Like, they gave you so much. There was so much strategy to learn. There was so much world to explore. There was just so much everything. And it was just mind-blowing how much they crammed into such an action-packed, you're just flying through these worlds kind of experience where, like, it's just kind of mind-blowing, even though you're going, like, Mach 10, and it takes you an hour just to get to, like, the end of one mission.
Yeah, you know.
And it's just an adrenaline ride the whole time. It's kind of impressive, even, like, when they got to the DLC. I was like, okay, well, you know, I felt a little bit like, you know, you've been on the craziest roller coaster of your life. Okay, what more can they give you? And then they start on the most insane level of what they just left off. Because the DLC assumes that you've played and mastered the original game. So a warning to anybody who feels like they can jump right into the DLC without playing the main game, you're going to be sorry.
That'd be scary.
Oh, it's absolutely insane. Like, they just start you off with waves and waves of enemies, and like right away. In the first 10 minutes, there's even a shark that comes at you within the first 10 minutes of the game, and it's just yeah, and it's just absolutely adrenaline-filled awesomeness. Yeah, so that's my pick of the game of the year.
So screw you, Cyberpunk. You suck. Just kidding. We love you.
No, I still love that game, but Doom Eternal definitely.
Yeah.
It was my high school romance.
Well, for me, since Cyberpunk's not getting released until actually next year, it still has a chance.
True.
To all you Last of Us 2 fans, sorry to disappoint.
We haven't played the game, so we can't say.
Nothing really particularly about me, but what I heard. But you know, I am probably going to pick it up sometime soon and go through it, just to say I did it.
Gave it a fair shake.
And hopefully, I'm you know, surprised. I want to be. I do. Like I said, the first one was probably one of my favorite games to play on the PlayStation 4. So I've been hard pressed to beat Ghost of Sushi, though, in my mind, honestly.
For me, I feel like, I hate to say it, and this has nothing to do with like all the politics and stuff. For me, the reason I didn't play Last of Us 2 is because it's the opposite of what I enjoy. I'm not big on stealth games. That's why I picked Doom Eternal. It is the opposite of stealth. It is the exact opposite of hiding in a bush. The game encourages you to just constantly be on your guard.
There is no bush.
I don't think there is. I don't think there is.
There isn't. Yeah, no. So that's our event, folks. That's our Gala of Glorious Awards. hopefully it seemed fair, and if not, well, there are favorite games, so screw you. And yeah, so if you like this type of content, drop us a like. Also tell us in the below section if you think we got any wrong. We're not going to listen to you. We're going to ignore it. No, we will. Tell us what games that you enjoyed. You know, if there's anything we missed. I mean, obviously we admitted to not playing Last of Us 2, so that might be an oversight on our part. But in previous videos, we do explain why. So just
check out.
Just keep that in mind. And yeah, subscribe if you want to see more content from us. And yeah.
Click the little bell notification. Make
bell.
sure you're updated. Yeah.
Ding-a-ling-a-ding.
Ding, ding, ding.
And on that note, have yourself a Merry New Year Christmas.